Hey, welcome to the latest video about Production Line, the car factory game that I make here at Positech Games. I thought I'd start off on this screen this week because everything's changed. I'll just swap over to this. Yeah, we had this thing online where I asked loads of people to vote on what you thought of the main menu screen for the game, and it used to be really white. And loads of people voted, and we took the sort of the consensus of what people thought, and people liked a screen that looked like this. This stuff over here in the top right, that like disappears once you place a vote on what we should be working on. So basically what we've got now is a screen that is not brilliant white and like sort of you know, burns your retinas and everything like that. And also the other like associated screens, so like the options screen and the load game screen have changed as well. So I'm just going to load in my current game, and of course like the loading screen is different. That looks like this now, and talk about a few things that have changed in the last week. There is a new feature, a new thing. I'm not sure if I've researched it. I probably have. Yeah, look, supply stockpile. We now have mini supply stockpile. And there's a place in my map that I was thinking I probably needed this because I have a bit of a bottleneck. Actually, my bottleneck has moved massively. My bottleneck is now here with lights. Lights are always a pain, aren't they? So we now have a small mini stockpile, which let's fit lights there. So it's only 2 squares rather than 4. Other than that, it's exactly the same. And this is something that you have to research. So that should start filling up now if I speed things up. Yes, gradually. So this gives you more flexibility because these supply stockpiles, they're kind of like interim things in your factory where basically the little stockpiles next to a slot aren't big enough because they only hold 16 items. Now if you're only fitting one of each item on a car, then that's fine, but if you've got something, for example lights, so how many lights do we fit? Probably only fit 4. Fit 4 lights each time. Of course you do, because you've got rear lights. Probably a lot more than that, right? Because actually you have turn light, yeah, anyway, whatever. So when you're fitting 4 and you've got 2 types of lights, you can run out of this stuff quite quickly depending where the nearest like importer is. We can check and see where they're coming from, although at the moment handily they're coming from the local stockpile. So stockpiles are quite a handy way of reducing the amount of time that a slot is idle. You don't want the slot to be idle at all, and here you can see waiting for resources. They spend half their time waiting for resources, so you need to cut down on that. So that's a new thing, and you have to research it. So if we go into research, I can't 100% remember where they are. There they are, mini stockpiles under import priorities. So it's a new researchable thing as well, and that's gone in, and I hope you like that. Something else we did is we moved some stuff around. So if you go to finance now, there some screens that used to be here are no longer here because they had nothing to do with finance. The component screen and I think the features screen have moved. So if you go here, this is where they are now. This is new and has changed from the way we used to display things. So now for individual components, you can look at this and you can see how many you're producing and how many you're consuming in an hour. I should eventually set up a thing to allow you to see over 24 hours or something like that, and how many you've got stockpiled. You can't produce everything locally yet. So for example, you can't produce leather yet, you just have to import the stuff, right? Same with light bulbs, you can't actually make light bulbs yet. But for ones where you can, for example door panels, we're importing 42 but consuming 100. So we theoretically, you know, this is a way of telling us that we need a few more make door panel slots. I've also changed the layout of this very slightly in other ways, but I won't bore you with that. So features are here now. They're in the efficiency thing. They used to be somewhere else, so that's something that we've changed. Okay, so what I want to talk about is QA and defects. Now, if you're currently playing the game, you'll know that cars go along a production line, they go through various slots and things get added. So here the trunk is getting added. Trunk, I need to think about that. That is the boot hood, if you're British. Okay, so this is where the trunk gets added. So what happens here is a single task is performed, right? So in this slot we add the trunk. The car that comes out then has a... oh, hang on, I've got to get it when it stops. Then has a trunk, which is part of a basic car, so it won't be on there. And that's the end of the matter. That trunk has a certain value as part of the basic car. You can see some cars are getting spoilers added, and they have a certain value. And ultimately, the value of the car is the value of all of the features that it has. So if we look here, we can look at how much we can sell a car for, and it's basically just the sum of all of its features. So it's assumed, for example, if we have a Model E sedan here that has all these features, that they're all fine. And if we go into the marketplace, where are we? Here. When people evaluate this car, they may not like how many features it has. In this case, they may not like its value for money. They would have expected to have a heater and a driver airbag, and that's not even an option on this car, so they're upset about that. But the quality of the car is always fine. And when we look at marketing, all we can market is brand awareness. And all we're really doing here is saying, Positech Auto Industries, we make cars. And that's great, and that'll get you in the door. But at the moment, the game has no concept of quality whatsoever. And we want to change this. So obviously, to have any like marketing relating to quality and any purchasing decision that is affected by quality, we have to track the actual quality of a car. And the way we're going to do that is assume that cars that go through the production line have defects, they have problems, errors, which most cars do during production. And what happens is right at the end they get fixed. Now, we already have QA in the game, in that we have this whole like quality check system here. And if you go in, you'll know that you have, I think that's visual inspection, then you have a performance check, and then you have an emissions check. So what we don't have is a check that, oh, actually the steering wheel doesn't work, or it's been put on backwards, or anything like that, any kind of like crazy thing that's gone wrong. And I think we need to have that, because what most car companies seem to have is they may have periodic like checks along the line for quality, but mostly at the end, here at the visual inspection, for example, what's going to happen at that point is some cars will be taken to one side for what they call rework, where they'll basically fix everything that's gone wrong throughout the production of the car. So I want to put that in the game. And we had a blog post about this and forum posts about this, and I was asking for people's opinions. Now, what I wanted to do was combine this with a new system of area of effect stuff. So we would have a new thing, a new like I wonder if it's actually been left in, yeah, like QA office, which you can't actually buy yet. We were going to have this new thing called a QA office that you could like put down here, and then this whole area around here would be affected by the QA, and the amount of defects added to the car would go down. But people don't like that. Talking to people who play the game, they don't like the idea of areas of effect. So what I think we're probably going to do, and I want people's feedback on this obviously, is we're going to have like a QA office, which will be like a slot, kind of like this, kind of like the visual inspection thing, and you'll be able to put that down at any point. And that will kind of trap those defects that have come along in the car, and I guess potentially stop them getting any worse. I haven't really sort of decided the right way to do it, but what I do want to do is have defects build up along the line, and for them to be fixed at the end. So if we replace this visual inspection theoretically with a new kind of like rework station or something, when a car came into the rework station, it would almost immediately go straight out unless it had defects. If it has defects, each one is going to take like 2 minutes to fix or whatever. Now if you're clever, what we'll have is like a smart junction system that will go, are there any defects? If so, go over here and get rework. So if we do that, do we really need QA stations along the line anywhere? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we don't need that. Maybe we just have this whole new concept back here at the end of the line of fixing defects. And of course we can have research to reduce the amount of defects and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. Should we have like periodic things along the line that that allow you to fix defects earlier? One of the things that has come up, talking to people who actually work in car factories, is that obviously a defect right at the end, like, you know, you're putting in, I don't know, like, you know, say that like the touch screen doesn't work. Taking the touch screen out of a car and fixing it is fairly horrendous, but it's not as bad as, like, you know, the drive shaft being bent or something. So I'm assuming that at the start of the line, like if we have a defect here right at the very start, we then add like 150 components to the car, we then get to the end of the line and we realise that the wheels are going to fall off or whatever, or like something underneath and fundamental in the car is not working. Maybe like the body frame is twisted or whatever, I don't know. Then that should be really expensive to fix right at the end, because you have to disassemble the whole car. So theoretically fixing it early should be cheaper and also quicker. So I have this idea in my head that as defects go into the car, they get worse and worse, or the time to fix the defect goes up and up the longer it goes through the line. In other words, the more things get added. So what I want is an incentive for the player to not consider defects and quality checking to be something that they do once the car's finished. I want them to have an incentive to go back through their line and think, you know, really, we have space here, we could put a quality check and rework thing in here to kind of trap errors up to this point, and that would be more cost effective than just fixing it at the end. Anyway, this whole area is kind of like up for discussion, and I want to hear your opinions on it. I want to hear your opinions on what kind of research would be interesting to do along those lines as well. We put the price up. So that's my discussion bit about that area of the game. We put the price up about a week ago to $19.95. I just thought I'd let you know in case you hadn't noticed. We are still making like a big appeal to people who are playing the game. If you play the game, you like the game. I know some people are playing it for a very long time, 20 hours, 40 hours, 100 hours. We've had people play it for 200 hours, and that's great. Please leave us a positive review on Steam. I know you're sick of me saying it all the time, but it is very important and very helpful to us. And please get involved on the forums, on the Steam forums and on our player forums, where we discuss the design of the game and what we're doing with the game. There's a lot of really cool stuff in this game that is in the game because of you, because you've come up with good ideas, because you've come up with good suggestions and good critiques of stuff that's in the game, and ideas for better balance and stuff like that. So we do listen to all that. It is in fact really very helpful. So, you know, please get involved, and if you don't want to get involved in the whole like social media kind of online forum stuff, just email me, cliff@positech.co.uk, and say, I'm playing the game, I like it, but I don't like this bit, you know, have you thought about adding that, whatever. I do read them all. I don't reply to everything because I'm very busy, but I do read them. You know, it is worth doing, and I like getting emails with people just saying, look, I really like the game. You know, that's good too. Okay, so basically what I'm looking for in the comments on this video are your thoughts on QA and defects and how we should put that stuff in the game. Thank you for watching, and we'll do another video next week. Cheers.